Sunday morning. Whatever the weather, most islanders attend at least one of the church services. It's another community tradition. Will the apparent desire of many islanders to return to Britain be strong enough to break up these patterns of island society? There seems a very real possibility now that if enough people do decide to go, the community will cease to exist. How confident was the administrator, Gordon Whitefield, about the future?
Do you feel the community will continue?
I think so. Given the prospects of employment with the fishing company, I think some will remain. Some will undoubtedly leave. I think some of the younger people who have had a taste of England will leave, join the merchant navy as they did when they were in England. Undoubtedly, there will be a movement away from Tristan, but there will still be a community here.
About to leave Tristan for good was 21-year-old Gerald Repetto. For months, he's saved for the journey.
Do you think you're the first of many to go back?
No, I'm not the first at the moment. There's two already gone on ahead, Susan Glass and Gordon Glass already, but from now on I reckon there'll be quite a few people travelling back to England, especially in April. There's going to be about a number 25 in April.
Do you think there'll be enough left to carry on the community?
I reckon so. There'll be mostly older ones left, but the younger ones will be the most people who want to get off the place and get away. They've seen a bit of the outside world now and they want to carry on seeing, I reckon.
Another islander joined us for the journey home, 64-year-old Ned Green. He's to have hospital treatment in Britain and plans to stay there permanently. Next year, his wife will join him. How many others will follow? By the time the next supply ship arrives in April, perhaps not more than 30 islanders will have saved £100 minimum fare. But if the new harbour doesn't work, if the potato crop fails again, there'll be more on the next boat. It's the most energetic who have the firmest determination to go. Without them, will the older and more conservative members of the community be able to manage? After 150 years of human occupation, Tristan could again become deserted. Perhaps the real truth is that for most people, the simple life only appeals at a distance.
Peggy, when you left England, you said you were very sorry to go. Do you still feel like that?
Yes. I'd like to go back again.
When do you plan to do so?
Well, at the earliest possible moment, as soon as I'm 21. That will be in January. So I suppose the first ship that will be coming to Tristan will be in April. I shall be leaving in April.
You seem pretty keen to get away. Why?
Because life in England's better. And there's better prospects in England for the younger people.
Are you thinking of yourself or a family or...?
Yes, I'm thinking of myself. Also, I'm thinking if I have to stay in Tristan, get married, and have my child, I wouldn't want my children to stay because there's no education for them and no future.
What is there for people to do on Tristan?
Not much. Just grow potatoes. Ordinary housework. Nothing else much. Work for a living, but there's not much to do.
Would you say that the island life was particularly boring for girls?
Yes, girls and boys. But the boys, if they can get away on the fishing ships, it's a bit of life for them, something new.
Everybody came back in a great big party. Is this because family loyalty is very strong on the island, do you think?
Yes, very. I didn't want to come back, but I felt that I should come back with my people and see them settled in. It was only fair.
How are they going to feel if you do go away?
I suppose they'll miss me, but I suppose in a few years' time they might even follow me on to England.
A British dependency since 1876, Tristan has drawn closer to Britain since the eruption. The present administrator on the island is Gordon Whitefield, who looked after the islanders during their exile in Britain. Tristan's stamps bear the Queen's head. Their scarcity value makes them the island's major source of income. Big Mary represents the traditional values of Tristan, the simple values of group loyalty and frugality. But the stay in England had its effect on some islanders. Individuals became convinced they could manage on their own, independently of the community. They grew used to fat pay packets, discovered new skills. New machinery brought with it a new way of thinking. Basil Lavarello, who now looks after the island's mechanical equipment, regrets his return to Tristan.
Well, when we was in England, you hear so many letters come back from the first 6 men who was out there, and people always kept saying, well, Tristan is nearly the same as it was before. Personally, myself, I never want to come back. But then after, so many people turned against me and said that you're silly for not going back, and you should go back to your own. So I thought to myself, well, I'm going to go back and see. I want to prove it myself, what it's like. If I can prove it, that Tristan was not like it was before, I could turn around and tell him that, look, what I've told you was quite true. Is Tristan like it was before? Do you think you're going to get it back again? But people are beginning to prove it now, because when we first came here, you take, for instance, now, when we first landed on the island here, it wasn't a thing here for us. It wasn't a thing to eat, or nothing. You just come back hoping, and when you got and saw the place, lots of people turned their minds, but it was too late. They said they'd rather been in England any day.
Do you think many people feel like that?
I'm sure if that had a vote now for people to return to England, I'd say 3/4 out of the community would return back there again.
Would you be one of them?
I would be one of them. And if I can, I'm going to take that opportunity and go back. I'm saving up my money to do so.
Work is a problem on Tristan, but there's no shortage of it when a supply boat comes in. On the beach, unloading begins at first light. Oil supplies heat and light for the island. The fuel tanks are for a new fish freezing plant soon to be built. The largest drums of all are hauled across the water on a rope. It was 10 exhausting days before the cargo was completely unloaded. Work in England, say the islanders, was like Sundays in comparison. With ox carts and donkeys, the island women collect their precious rations of potatoes from the one island store. Since the blight attacked their own crops, they've been dependent on imported supplies. These potatoes must last them until Christmas, when there's some hope of a new crop. Potatoes have always been their staple food, and though the store is subsidizing the present supply, it's an expensive item in family budgets. For the girls, plastic hair rollers are a link with England, with a wider and more exciting life. Some of them now regret ever leaving that life behind, amongst them Peggy Glass. On this new harbour scheme, the island's crayfishing industry depends. Gabions, large baskets of plastic-covered wire, are assembled by the older men. At low tide, these are carried to the shore, placed in the water and filled with rocks, hacked and blasted out of the volcanic cliffs. Shovels and dumper trucks from England carry the rock from the cliff face to the harbour site. The whole harbour project is an act of faith. The British government has spent £80,000 on it, and a British builder has been supervising the work for the last 2 years. When it's finished, the islanders will begin work on a deep freeze plant for the fish they catch. By April, the islanders will soon find out if it really does protect their fishing fleet through the rough weather. If it does, then the export of frozen fish could provide an economy for the island and employment for the islanders. The final decision to return to Tristan was taken by the island's council, which advises the administrator and still has a lot of influence. Leading the council, headman Willie Repetto. Their decision to return overrode two factors. One, health. In England, 1 in 5 islanders were found to have congenital defects, the result of inbreeding. Children as well as adults were affected by eye trouble and a type of asthma. The second factor, schooling. For the most intelligent boys, there's nothing after this one school. Average island wages for these boys when they grow up will be about 13 or 14 pounds a month. For the girls, there's even less future. Most can only look forward to domestic work at a shilling an hour.
Lord, have mercy upon us, and incline our hearts to keep His law.
To worship Him, to give Him thanks, put our whole trust in Him, and to call upon Him.
Limited education prospects matter less to some parents than to others. Some consider formal schooling unimportant compared with the advantages they see in island life. Louis and Isabel Swain have no doubts about their children growing up here.
What is it about life on Tristan that really appeals to you?
Well, it's free. You can let your children run around. No danger, no worries with them.
How about you, Isabel? How did you feel about life on the island, coming back to it?
I like to come back to Tristan for the sake of my children, because in England you have to keep them indoors all the time, and that's one thing we ain't used to, is our doors locked and our children shut up inside all the time. But here in Tristan is a free life for them. They can run about, they can go where they like. We haven't got any worry about with them.
The mostly I think about is my children. I want my children to have, if I can help it, what I couldn't have. In my days, when I go up, I had a bit of schooling, quite a bit, and I try hard. But I want them to beat me, if I can give them that chance. But they'll never have the opportunity on Tristan, unless I can do something and get them away to a school outside. Well, I will do my uttermost best to do it.
Seem to weigh least heavily on the older generation. Outside her cottage, I talked to Mary Swain, Big Mary as she's known to the rest of the islanders.
Mrs. Swain, are you glad you came back to the island?
Yes, sir, I am. More than glad.
Haven't the last 2 years been very hard ones?
Well, not really, if you wish to put your back to it. Because if you sit alone in the house and doesn't do anything, you would. But when you take your fishing lines and go for fishing and take your donkeys and go for wood, you pass all those hours away, and you doesn't feel lonesome.
You're getting on yourself. You're 70 now. Haven't you found it all a bit of a strain?
No, not a bit. I feel as young as anything.
Do you still do plenty of work yourself?
Yes, do all my own work. Don't worry no one on it.
You've always been the midwife on the island. What's the most recent baby you've delivered?
Well, the last one was Dorothy's little baby. That was about a week ago.
You find that they still call you in?
Yes, they can't do without me. I'm the only midwife. And we called the doctor in for this lady. And he came and said, "Whoa, not yet. You call me when it's later on." Well, he wasn't to his house. The baby was brought. Only myself there. I'm used to delivering. I've been delivering, oh my gosh. I couldn't tell nobody how many babies I've been delivering. Now they think the world of me now. Because if they lose me, they won't get babies very easy. And I just go in the morning and dress, wash, bath, and dress the baby. Sometimes I wait and have a cup of tea, and if not, I just come away. Nothing, no pay on Tristan for delivering babies.
What do you miss about England?
Well, I doesn't miss anything, only my friends. That's all I missed. I can't miss anything. Nothing in England. What I miss is only my dear friends that I left behind.
Not worried about no shops?
Oh, shops doesn't worry me one bit. I was brought up here all those years without shops. Live off fish and potatoes and meat and birds and eggs. Don't worry on shops.
You've had a potato blight here for 2 years now. Has that made living very hard?
Well, it's rather, in a way, but it's only the potatoes. If we had plenty of potatoes, we wouldn't worry on anything else. It's only a bit of tea and sugar and things like that, but we miss a bit, but otherwise.
What sort of things are different on the island since the volcano?
Well, the only change I see is in the potato failure. That's all the change I saw.
How about people? Do you think they've changed?
Well, quite a bit.
How?
Well, they not seem as, friendly and nice as what they was before the volcano. Some of them, the younger ones. The older ones are much the same. But the younger ones, England has spoiled them.
How's it spoilt them, then?
Well, you see, there were too much on shops and televisions and pubs and all sorts of dances and all sorts of things like that. So you see.
Do you think many of the young people want to go back to England?
Oh, well, I think it's the old ones as bad as the young ones, by the looks of it.
You think plenty of people want to go back?
Well, as far as I've heard from people staying, there's about 3 or 4 families now wanting to go back now.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I couldn't tell you exact, but I don't think there's enough enjoyment here for they want to get back so they can see the world and plenty of boys and plenty of girls.
What do you do with yourself all day? I mean, what's your daily life like?
Well, I get up in the morning and I make myself a morning cup of tea. Then I get my husband's breakfast ready. Then I go to church. That's the first thing of all. Church first. God first and man afterwards. That's where my way. And it's no good a padre out here and trailing up to church with a lame leg, and when he goes, he's found his church empty. So I gets every morning to church when I can. And if I'm not to church, he comes and hunt for me.
And then what?
Then when I come out of church, I do all my other work.
Mm-hmm. What kind of things?
Well, I get my lunch ready and wash and iron and patch and darn. Then I take my spade and I go in my garden and I spade and clean my flowers, all sorts of things like that.
Do you still go over to the potato patches yourself?
Yeah, so goes that's my hobby all around the potato patches. But I don't work. My children's taken the patches over for working.
Would you say you were pretty contented to be back?
Yes, rather. I wouldn't part with my little Highland home for anything. Too quiet and lovely.